I think Tyron was a tougher opponent for Jake Paul than Tommy Fumbles was going to be. And yes, I'm calling him Fumbles. He will not be referred to as Fury anymore until he earns it back after what he did. Anyway though, I legitimately believe that. And, so does Jake.
I think Tommy's an easier fight than Tyron, for sure.
Before you run off in the comments and call me an imbecile, hear me out and listen very closely. This is why I think T-Wood is a tougher matchup for Jake than Fumbles. And the key word in that sentence is matchup. Okay, so let's look at Jake. What's his biggest strength in the ring? It's his power.
Good night, Irene. Mamma mia, the problem child!
Tommy Fumbles' weakness as a boxer is, well, he walks into punches like he's a complete zombie. Whereas Woodley's biggest weakness is, the dude gets in the ring, takes his sweet time, and isn't overly active.
Not pleased with Tyron Woodley's performance?
They broke the record for the least punches ever thrown in a title fight.
And you see, that's my point. Jake's strength lines up with Tommy's weaknesses perfectly. Paul can KO him because he leaves himself wide open, whereas he can't do the same to Tyron because Tyron is rarely open enough to get caught with those big shots. Before my words get misconstrued, I'm not saying Woodley's a better boxer than Fumbles. I'm not saying Woodley's a better boxer than Fumbles. I'm saying he's a tougher matchup for Jake's skill set. And with that out of the way, let's evaluate this Paul versus Woodley rematch. Y'all know me, I'm a degenerate gambler, so let's see how the betting odds currently stand. Paul is a pretty sizable favorite to win at -270, while Woodley is +210 to score the upset. If you're watching this and you've never bet on sports, two things you need to know. One, unless you enjoy lighting fire to your hard-earned money, you should probably stay away from sports wagering.
Everything burns.
Stay far, far away. Two though, what that -270 betting line means is, to make $100 on Jake Paul, you would have to risk $270. Therefore, it's really not good betting value. If you watched my last video, you know I had $1,500 on Jake to beat Tommy Fumbles. I will not be making the same money line bet on Jake Paul to beat Tyron Woodley. Not because I don't think he's gonna beat him, but because there's a better, more lucrative bet, which I'll be sharing with y'all later on. But first, let's break down this fight. These two cats fought 3.5 months ago, and in that fight, Paul avoided a disastrous KO, just barely, in the 4th round, and came back to win on the scorecards by split decision. Objectively though, most believe Woodley looked like the more skilled boxer that night. His punches did more damage, and he was dictating the pace of the fight, while Paul was running away from him. My takeaway that night, and to most observers honestly, was if Woodley would have just let his hands go, he would have won. So in this rematch, T-Wood has a very clear path to victory. Get in the damn ring and just be more active, man. Will he though? Hell no. I mean, Woodley being gun shy, that wasn't a one night thing. That's his MO going back to his final UFC fights. At this stage in his career, the guy's almost 40 years old. He kinda is who he is as a fighter.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
And the lack of offense is also mental. Woodley doesn't want to end up on Jake Paul's highlight reel next to his buddy Ben Askren. And in my opinion, he's terrified of getting KO'd, and because of that, Woodley's going to fight conservative again, despite there being a $500,000 knockout bonus if he can drop Paul to the canvas. And speaking of which, let's talk about that KO clause, because there's still a large segment of people that seem to think Jake Paul is rigging these fights WWE style. Let me show you exactly how I feel about those people.
Dumb.
Stupid.
Crazy. Dangerous.
Stinks.
R.I.P. Screech. And guys, there's a huge difference between the people who cash checks like Woodley and Paul versus the people who write checks, which in this case is Showtime Boxing. Showtime is the biggest power broker out of all the parties involved. I mean, they've been broadcasting boxing since the 80s, and they're not going to taint their prestigious name in this sport by slipping a no knockout clause into the contract for a goddamn YouTube boxer.
Himself up to hold on. Trying to fight back now, and he's got Torres down.
Come on, this rumor sprang up because of Dillion Danis.
Tyron Woodley, from what I heard, had in the contract that he's not allowed to knock out Jake.
Oh, get out of here. That's ridiculous.
Is Dillion Danis really the source of truth? This guy? Plain and simple, Dillion is a
Lousy, lying, low down, four-flushing carcass. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Sorry, I had to rant there, but let's go back to Paul versus Woodley 2. And I see this fight going exactly how the first one went, and that's Paul having to dig deep to outpoint Tyron Woodley. And that's not how he wants to win. I mean, honestly speaking, he is a one-trick pony in the ring that overly relies on the right-handed knockout. And he does have a rather large ego and probably wants to embarrass opponents with a KO, not a boring decision victory. And he's not gonna get it against Tyron. Paul is gonna have to win this by being technically better inside the ring and connecting more shots, which is not his strong suit in the slightest. Which again is what makes Tyron a tougher matchup than Fumbles. Tyron's conservative style negates Paul's power. As for the bet I'm making, once props for the fight are out, I'm hammering Paul to win by decision, and I mean hammering it. That prop will pay out significantly better than just betting Jake Paul money line. And y'all know me, I'm all about cashing out as bigly as possible.
I can't hear.
We can't hear you.
There's too much money in my hand.
I can't hear you.
I can't turn it on. I'll call you back.
We'll call you back.
0 to 100. Real quick.
That's all I got, folks. And as always, let's get this money, y'all.